I did a very silly thing. This vlog is off to a weird start for me. So I'm doing my PhD in theater and performance studies. I'm in my 7th year. I am ready to be done. I want to finish this year. And every morning I wake up at 7 a.m. or just before 7 a.m. and I hop on a Google Meet call with a friend who's doing their PhD in Germany. And I meet with them every morning except for when I teach or when they have class. And they have class on Thursdays. And today is Thursday, but I woke up at 6:45 anyway, tossed on some clothing, and came and sat down at my desk, hopped on a Google Meet call, and then sat there wondering where they were. But this is a good thing, because sometimes when they are not meeting with me, I just don't get out of bed because I'm still getting up at 7 a.m. is still not totally natural for me. Or rather, I definitely wake up by 7 a.m. every day, but I won't get out of bed unless I have a good reason to. I would much rather just stay in bed and read my book, which right now is Less by Andrew Sean Greer. So this mishap has forced me out of bed and I'm not gonna go back into bed, so I'm gonna do PhD work. But first, I'm gonna go make myself some breakfast. So let's go do that and then I'll get into it. Well, I've added a bunch of words to my document this morning. I don't feel super awesome about them, and it wasn't like writing, it was more copying and pasting, because I have all of these notes and quotes and, research that I've done, and I just have that stuff ready to be put into my draft. And so I did that. I started putting that into my draft of chapter 2. And so chapter 2 is at about 1,300 words right now versus chapter 1, which is at about 8,000 words. And I even started putting some words into chapter 3 that I already have and know about, because I'm still a little bit confused about where the boundaries are between my chapters 1, 2, and 3, especially between 2 and 3, which makes sense because they are the least fleshed out of the chapters so far, but even the barrier between where chapter 2 ends and where chapter 1 ends and where chapter 2 begins is a bit blurry for me. I know in some countries the PhD is more like a series of articles that you've previously published, and they don't have to be so connected. It's just pieces next to each other, which are themselves papers. My dissertation is more of a complete story that I'm trying to create somewhat arbitrary feeling to me distinctions between, so that I can section them off for the reader so that they're not overwhelmed. And so those section markers, I guess I haven't even fully convinced myself that those are distinct ideas. And I think this is a big part of why it is taking me so long to write my dissertation. I'm not necessarily writing it with this really solid, strong plan that I totally understand. I do feel if I was writing with a solid plan and a strong understanding of what each chapter was about and what went into it specifically and why it was distinct from the other chapters, I do think that the writing would go quicker. And then you've got that balance between planning and then just writing. I was actually just watching one of Kaylin Grace Apple's PhD diary vlogs, and she's doing her PhD in history, so there's some crossover in I think what we do day to day, so it's really helpful to watch her vlogs and see what she's doing. But her most recent one was on planning, making a plan to finish her dissertation, which I can totally empathize with. And then the first comment was somebody saying, "I'm sorry, I just had to comment because I see you planning all the time, and honestly, I did a doctoral degree a couple years ago, and you just need to start writing," aka just giving giving Kaylin this unsolicited advice when we're all going through our own kind of journeys on the PhD, and Kaylin and her committee probably know what Kaylin needs the most at this time. And when you're going through a PhD in the arts or humanities, like, there is no solid roadmap for you laid out already. There's no proper order of chapters necessarily. There's no specific research methodology or method that you should be using. It's all just like blurry all the way. It's like you're writing the dissertation through fog and you can only see like a little bit in front of you at a time. So planning is like makes you feel less afraid, but at the same time, it's hard to make a plan for like the foggy parts of the journey that you can't see yet. So it's this constant back and forth, I don't know, I'm finding between making a plan and just trying to write. And then when you have written and you can see that little way forward, changing your plan or updating your plan or making a plan for the next part of the journey. And it's really stressful. It's like a really stressful position to be in. And what you should do about that is go for a run. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm done this for now. I'm gonna go on a run, clear my head. I have a meeting at 10 a.m. and then maybe I'll revisit this in the afternoon. But if not, then definitely tomorrow morning. Okay, it's a new morning. It's 7:30 a.m. and I'm at my desk to work. I've got my breakfast. I've got actually this morning coffee because I haven't really been drinking coffee lately, and when I do, it's decaf, but some mornings I just need that caffeine, and this is one of those mornings. Yesterday ended up being kind of a tough day. PhD-wise, I got in my head a little bit about where I'm at with my writing and publishing and all of the little voices in my head saying what I should be doing or what I should have done. And I'm trying to turn the volume down on those little voices, but some days it's harder than others. So I'm trying to start the day off right with a nice warm cup of coffee that will hopefully motivate me to get back on the mental track of my PhD and feeling good about it again. And yesterday, I think I was talking to you about this like back and forth between planning and writing that seems to happen in an arts PhD and maybe in all PhDs. I think that I need to go back to the planning this morning now that I am pretty sure what is happening in my first chapter, but like the lines between chapters are a bit blurry, and like the line between my second and third chapter are super blurry. Like it feels like this continuum and I don't know where to draw the line. I think I need to go back to outlining and just remind myself what I was gonna do in each of these chapters. Basically, I'm starting a full draft from nothing, like I'm just writing a whole draft, but I don't actually have nothing. I've written a lot prior to this, I just don't like the structure of it. I've done all of my interviews. I've even like sectioned out those interviews into useful quotes and like consolidated the interview quotes into different categories of things. So all of the information I need is like at my fingertips. I just need to slot it into an outline in the appropriate order, and finding that appropriate order I'm finding very, very difficult. So yesterday I just started throwing things I had into a second chapter, and I think that I need to take a step back today and ask myself what order these things actually should go in, and whether they belong in a second chapter or a third chapter, or whether actually the dissertation is more like 2 parts with many little chapters in between, which is kind of what I'm starting to lean towards. But also I know that I just need to write it and see what happens. But also I feel like people usually know what their chapters are going in. If you have any insight about this, feel free to let me know in the comments. Also already this morning I have reached out to a fellow PhD student at another university who I know through my undergraduate supervisor, and hopefully they are available to meet with me to chat about our dissertations, because although our overarching topic is very different, we're doing some of the same things, I think, in one of our chapters, and it'd be really helpful to talk to somebody that is also going through this and using similar ideas for a different purpose. So I'm going to get back into it and I'll update you later.
was the first thing if my love died. Would that be the worst thing? Somebody I thought was my savior. You sure make me do too much labor. Callous skin on my hands. Working and helping. If our love ends, would that be a bad thing? And the silence haunts a bedroom. Make me do too much labor.
I literally just filmed this entire clip and then realized I wasn't filming that whole time. Also, my microphone is almost dead, or rather it says it is dead, so we'll see how this goes. But I wrote like 500 new words into my document, I moved around some stuff, I revisited my outline that I made a number of months ago, and the outline is good. And so I should just stay the course, I should trust the process, I should just play it out as I wrote it, and I'm feeling reinvigorated to do that. This is what I'm saying about this constant back and forth. It's like you're walking down the path and then you make some choices about where to go and then you realize maybe you're lost. And so you go back to the map and you're like, oh, that's where I am. I just need to take these turns to get back on my track. And then you do that and then you get lost again and then you check the map again and it's like that over and over. So I think this vlog series is going to be a bit of an emotional roller coaster for me, but that's okay. That seems to be what it's like to do a PhD. In my case anyway. Now I'm gonna go for a run because my brother challenged me to like a running challenge this week and right now he's in the lead and I am motivated by sibling rivalry. So I have to put some kilometers in so that I beat him. And then later today I'm meeting up with my writer's circle where we are currently working on monologues that are going to get performed in a couple months, which is very exciting, and you probably won't hear from me again today, but hopefully I will see you again tomorrow, which is a Saturday, for PhD work. This weekend I actually spent at my mom's house, so I didn't film any updates, but here are some clips of me working over the weekend because I did do a bit of work. Unfortunately, the fact that I only use the desktop Obsidian and I don't pay for Obsidian means that whenever I want to transfer it over to my laptop, I need to like transfer it over. There's no like syncing onto my laptop. And I forgot to do that before I left, so I couldn't actually put more words into my document. And I needed my Obsidian in order to put new words into my outline. So in the end, I just did more reading and note-taking, and then I'll transfer those notes to my Obsidian when I get home from my mom's. So as a kind of recap of this vlog, it started off with me a little bit stressed or worried or unsure about how to move forward in my dissertation, but it ended, I think, on a really happy and hopeful note of going back to my outline, which did already exist, and feeling like I did have a way forward that I could act upon. And now I'm actually starting to flesh out that outline further so that I have like a fully formed map of where this journey is going to go next. So a little teaser for the next vlog in this series, that's what you're going to see from me, is me outlining the second chapter of my dissertation, and I'm actually going to bring you into that outlining process and show you how I work between Obsidian and Google Docs, and then back to Obsidian, and then to a Microsoft Word document, and I'll actually show you some samples of those things. So stick around for next time to see where I go next. And thank you for following this journey with me. Your comments on my previous vlog were so kind and helpful and motivational, and best of luck to all of you who are also writing dissertations or undergraduate theses or are looking to get into PhD programs. Keep telling me about those things in the comments because it really fuels my motivation for my own project. And I'll see you in another video again soon. Bye!